1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. We're doing our first video call with none other than the Silver Shield, Chris Duane. And there's so much going on that we can't think of a thing to talk about, right, Chris?
No, there's always stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so what do you think the biggest thing going on right now is, other than the meltdown of the Western economic system as we know it?
I personally think that the kind of thing that really stuck out with me was this Blythe Masters,
Yeah, you saw
weird
that.
interview on CNBC. She came out. It was a totally scripted video that was done. After years of, them being the bad guys and, crash JP Morgan and buy silver, you never heard anything from them. And then for them to come out with this very suspicious interview just smells to me like something big's cooking and that they're getting nervous. So they're trying to get ahead of it by putting some good publicity out there. Jamie Dimon was on CNBC a week earlier with Brian Sullivan, and it was a real live interview. I mean, it was them sitting there on the live floor, and Brian Sullivan caught him flat-footed, asking him about his involvement with MF Global and if he knew where John Corzine was. And Jamie Dimon basically said, "No, I have no idea," and it came off very bad. So a week later, I find it suspicious because I'm sure Jamie Dimon went to CNBC and said, "Hey, what the hell? I'm doing a live puff piece, and your guy, catches me on asking about MF Global, and then asks me where John Corzine is."
And lender to NBC, and how can you do this?
So I'm sure CNBC said, "Okay, well, how about this? We'll give you a scripted thing. What do you want to cover?" And that's where I think that this came out of, where she, basically it was, in a closed room, and the whole back looked like a set. It was just a poorly done video.
What she was wearing,
yeah, and she was so conservative, and
she was wearing like a canvas
leprechaun outfit,
like tented type thing, and she's not an attractive woman. She's in
she is an attractive woman. She looked very there.
When people wear that, it's like wearing sunglasses at the poker table. You don't want people to read your body language, and that's what she was doing. And it was obvious she had the questions in advance. And yet she was still stressing,
stiff.
She was nervous. At one point, when she was asked about silver, she smiled for the first time in the interview. I played it to my wife because I wanted to know what she thought, and I played it to a couple of my kids.
Yeah.
And they said, wow, she's really tense. And, this is a woman that doesn't like to be under the microscope.
No. And that's the thing about her. And she's not this, cutesy girl. I mean, I've heard, inside stories that she's a tyrant. She'll emasculate men, tell them to sack up and, suck it up. And, I know she's got a trash mouth on her. But she, had to do this interview. She had to come off as a good piece. Oh, and the thing that got me thinking about JP Morgan being under pressure, when Jamie Dimon went on with the CNBC. All he wanted to talk about is all the American vets that they're hiring. They're hiring like an American vet a day or something like that. Like that was somehow going to make up for funding all these wars and, rehypothecation and all this mess. Like hiring a vet is going to, make all that go away. But I know, thinking from the corporate mindset, that they think that, let's do some good charity work and then, make us look better. And the reason for Blythe's interview was because JP Morgan was giving $5 million to the University of Denver to fund this. So it's like, here's some charity and here's some that why we're not the bad guys.
So they should have funded the engineering program. Would have been a far better use of that $5 million. We don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough.
What they need is they need more young people to buy into this bullshit. And instead of producing metal, they can reverse alchemy and make paper out of real stuff.
Yeah, but they're only working for their clients, JP. They're not directional traders. They're just hedging.
Yeah. So, so I've been quiet with my videos because I've been working on this silver manipulation video for over a week, and the comment that she says is, which could possibly be true, on a certain level. All right, so September of 2010, J.P. Morgan had to close their proprietary commodities desk to meet the Volcker rule, and the Volcker rule was basically set up to limit the amount of risk that banks were allowed to take. So by not having a proprietary desk for the bank to gamble on behalf of the bank instead of just working as an intermediary for the clients, the idea there was that these banks can't get into too much trouble because it's not they're only playing with the client's money and not the house money.
Right.
So J.P. Morgan closes down their commodities desk. The day that happened, silver was at $17.76. From that day forward until May 1st, it was on a 45-degree angle straight up. So the lack of participation in, of capping the price of silver from that point to $50 is very obvious. And in the article, they said that, announcing that they're closing the desk, that J.P. Morgan was going to lose $1.5 billion a year for not having that profit center anymore. Okay, so they're supposedly out of the game. They're supposedly going to lose $1.5 billion, and the price of silver, triples in 7 months. We know all the shenanigans that happened on May 1st with the $6 down in 15 minutes. We know about the Leap Day massacre. All these like interventions. So there's obviously power still, has an interest in suppressing silver. And if J.P. Morgan's technically not doing it, they're still in there. They're 30% of the market on any given day.
Sure.
Which in itself is outrageous. I mean, can you imagine, the oil and corn markets and, other markets where one player had 30% of the market? I mean, they look at, they always talk about the Hunt brothers cornering the market. They probably never had more than 5% of the total market of silver. And yet here's J.P. Morgan acting that way. Mm-hmm. But in the interview, Blythe comes out and says that it would be wrong to obviously be against the Volcker rule and betting on their thing. And she says that clients or the blogosphere, us, and anybody who's looking into this matter,
don't understand. We just don't get it.
Yeah, only sees the one side of the trade, the shorting in the futures market. She goes, but they don't see the people buying the physical metal and then hedging that metal in the futures market. So she's saying that they're storing physical, that whoever this client is long physical metal, but shorting the paper metal. Okay. So I got to thinking, all right.
Who's the client? That's what I wanted to know. And the disingenuous, totally uncurious, unexpecting, unsuspicious CNBC reporter never thinks to ask, well, would that be USG, as in the United States government?
The Federal Reserve?
Yeah.
My feeling is that the J.P. Morgan left the power position of physically holding down the metal. When the Volcker rule came in, that was their out to get out of that position and transfer the risk onto the unlimited balance sheet of the Federal Reserve and the United States government, who they were acting as now intermediaries for. And wouldn't you know, in this past year, that commodity division didn't lose the $1.5 billion that they were expecting.
More.
$2.8 billion.
Right. Isn't that a coincidence, huh? Just coincidental. You're really too suspicious here. You got to understand the government is here to help you, and so's Blythe, working for the government. They just have your best interests at heart. That's all.
So, I mean, we had talked earlier about how Main Street Justice is coming to Wall.
Yeah.
And one of the themes of the video that I'm doing is that that they only admit what they can't hide anymore. And the fact that they came out and did a video says to me that something's big is going to happen. So we know that they can successfully manipulate a market for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. They've shown that over and over again. They've made tons of money, coordinating their efforts to do that. That's one of the other things that just doesn't ring true with Blythe's interview. If J.P. Morgan is acting on behalf of clients, who are these clients that are coordinating all their sells all at the same time, all during option expiry time? Why are they
jobs reports,
jobs reports, Fed statements?
Yep.
Why are they doing this not-for-profit selling where they're not looking for the best buyer and trying to blow through? I mean, we just know it's all bull.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Nobody sells the entire world's production of silver in a half-hour period into a falling market.
Yeah.
You know? Is that because they have a fiduciary duty on behalf of their clients to get them the best possible price on any trade, and if they don't, they can get into problems.
Yeah, and you know, until you realize that it benefits the quadrillion-dollar Anglo-American empire to give power to the dollar, suppress a real commodity like and monetary competitor like silver. And that it's such a small market that it would act as a canary in the gold mine. I mean, if silver started going to $500 an ounce, you know, there would be trillions of paper wealth, you know, stocks, bonds, derivatives. I mean, it would just the whole mess would fall apart. My point is that they can successfully manipulate for a day or two, but the overall trend they cannot stop. I mean, they have to let it run sometimes just to relieve some of the pressure that's building up, because every time they suppress the price, more and more physical silver is coming off the market. And in this silver manipulation video that I'm just starting to finish up, if you look at, since the time that I've been investing in silver, the COMEX registered silver warehouses have been dropping on a 45-degree angle from 130 million ounces to it reached, I think, 27 million. And the only time it broke that 45-degree angle was the end of October when MF Global bailed. And then all of a sudden, 3 million ounces, 5 million ounces, 6 million ounces go back into the registered inventory and broke that 45-degree trend line. Well, if you look at what's been delivered over the past, 3 or 4 days, it's game on again. That silver is flowing out of the vaults. It's not going into the vaults, and there's been big drop-off. So the timing, the coincidence, anybody who's paying attention as a heartbeat who's into this knows that this time frame is coming very short. And if you look at the wedge from the beginning of this recent bull market in 2008, the bottom, and do a straight line, up, and then you take the top where it hit 50 May 1st and draw a line down. There's a little pizza wedge there, and it comes out.
Pennant, it's called highly bullish.
Yeah, which is super bullish, and we have basically now until the June 30th where that pennant gets so tight. And watch all the little marks that go in between. And we're at the 200-day average, the 50-day average. Like, this whole market's been blown out, where anybody who's sold has sold, anybody who's bought has bought, and now we're just waiting for the next big move. And it's coming, folks.
Well,
and
you have to realize nobody really sold.
No, I know that, but
except producers who need the money to finance operations.
You got Eric Sprott saying Endeavor Silver is going to start doing what he said and do that. So there's less silver going in. The 60,000 MF Global customers that were playing, thinking that they were being cool, playing in their casino, all got screwed. Do you think that they're going to be gambling in the futures market? No. And if they know anything about gold and silver, they're going to be buying physical. Less buyers for them to manipulate. So I'm telling you, this Blythe Masters interview, I think we're going to look back at it and go, aha, now we know why.
Let me tell you how I know that something big is happening, and it's really kind of obvious, because it used to be that the Boyz, whoever they may be, when they'd manipulate, they would do it a little bit stealthily, and you had to analyze the tape and really look at the hourly trading to figure it out. The last 2 or 3 raids that have taken place, I'm not a trader.
Yeah.
I don't know from it. I don't have the sentiment. I can read charts, though. There was no effort to hide it.
No.
None whatsoever.
In fact, they're almost telegraphing it to scare people as opposed to just moving it.
Right.
And you're right that if you look at, and that's why this video is taking me so long. It's already, I think, 26 minutes long. It's almost a mini documentary in itself. But if you look at, governments used to manipulate gold and silver by fixing the ratio. They used to manipulate it by demonetizing it, like in the crime of 1873. They used to manipulate it by getting out of the gold window, and they used to manipulate it by taking the coins out, like these big, one-sided chops where nobody could do anything about it. And then from 1980, and then we saw all the huge amount of political, financial, economic pressure that was brought onto the Hunts to shake them out of their position. You see what Warren Buffett got shaken out of his 130 million ounces. And then for a long time, nobody was interested in silver, so keeping your price down was relatively easy. Yeah. And then as the momentum build and the education build and all the problems that they have in the financial system, more people are coming into the market going, I just want some metal because I don't trust stocks, I don't trust bonds, and they're fighting to lose the game. And prior to the 2008, where they knocked it down from 21 to 8. Even that effort was a long, drawn-out effort. It took them like 6 months to get it down there.
Sure.
But as this May 1st attack, where they knocked it down $6 in 15 minutes, raising the margin requirements, doing all these extra efforts, they're using much more volume, dollars, and criminality and manipulation into the market, and they're getting less and less return for that investment. And that's what gives me hope. It's coming closer to not happening anymore. So I jumped in all in 7 years ago. I've been preaching the same thing for a long time. But there's going to come a day where if you're one day too late, it's it forever, folks. There's no coming back. The world's going to change so much so that you're not going to have the opportunity to have the great American comeback like we've been used to, because it's going to be a very hard real world at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're a lot closer to that time than we were a few short months ago. It's inevitable. It's happening. And my only regret is that we didn't have any wardrobe malfunctions to talk about on American Idol. And we couldn't have talked about some really important things like, Survivor and all that. But hopefully they'll have more important news for us next week, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Chris, man. We'll catch you later.
All right.
And hey, what about your new subscription site? Just tell us about that for a sec.
Yeah, I have the Silver Shield Report. So I've done a ton of free work. The Sons of Liberty Academy, the Truth Never Told series on YouTube. Don't Tread on Me. I think we got 45 contributors to the site. But there's issues that I'm not comfortable talking about in public. A lot more advanced stuff. You can tell I'm a big thinker. And I, like a lot of the work that I've done, the Academy and the Truth Never Told really puts all of what's going on in context today. And I think that's totally missing in the educational experience and the blogosphere out there. There's just not enough formalized training to help people understand what's going on. There's a great amount of sites out there. I'll tell you, exactly what's going on. But I don't know too many people who are offering a solution on what to do the day after. There's survival sites. Yeah, there's, Doug Casey's got his millionaire mansion or resort down in Uruguay. But I came up with this ultimate exit strategy on a very reasonable, powerful way of transferring our wealth out of this paradigm with silver, and then many, many different ways of reestablishing a new paradigm, a new way of life amongst a private community. And that's what I've been using the Silver Shield Report to help build the intellectual foundation for that. And it's been growing. I think we just got over 350 subscribers to it. And I can tell you what, the people that are involved are passionate, well thought, caring people. And, this is something, if you're going to be working towards something, work towards something in the next paradigm. Don't think about building a business in this paradigm. Don't think about, getting your degree, because chances are whatever is valuable in this paradigm is not going to be worth anything the day the dollar dies. But the skills, the intellectual foundation, the real assets, and the real jobs that are going to be created in the next paradigm are going to start from people who are thinking about this and see this coming, so that we can actually go out and create our own paradigm. So that's what I've been trying to work with the Silver Shield Report.
So you don't think I should go back to college and get a degree in puppetry? Because I always wanted to get into puppetry. All right. Hey, and if you want to see this interview, others, they're all up on financialsurvivalnetwork.com, along with, we got, anywhere from 50 to 100.
Yeah, the site's looking good, by the way.
Thanks.
It looks good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we're getting like amazing traffic. So anyway, financialsurvivalnetwork.com and silvershieldreport.com, right?
No, it's on the don't-tread-on.me site.
Oh, it's on there. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So don't-tread-on.me, which we've got a link on financialsurvivalnetwork.com to get to it. And we will talk to you next week.